Yeah, no, it's all, I mean, nothing bad, nothing bad. So I have my book launching November 5th. So I'm kind of in that mode of, I'm excited, and I'm also like working a lot on all of the bulk buys, and, going back to all
Yeah.
my clients and saying, hey, like, buy this for your team, buy this for your company. Like, it's a lot of that stuff, right? It's like all the blood, sweat, and tears of serving so many organizations for years. And then
Yeah.
now there's a way to support me. And it's like, let's do this.
Great problem to have.
Yes. Yeah.
How is that? And the reason I ask you is because I've been listening to a lot of your episodes, especially I like your single episodes because
Yeah.
I'm getting the coach out of you in your single episodes. And you talked quite a bit about the inauthentic feeling of how whatever publishing company that was, how they wanted you to write an outline a particular way, and it made you just mentally bogged down.
Yes.
How it actually we'll start right there. We just dive right in. I just love talking.
Hmm.
I feel that. I think a lot of people feel that when all of a sudden we want to do something or we're asked to do something and we start the process and it's almost like someone threw sand in your gears and you just can't get going. So maybe talk about that a little bit because that was an inauthentic expectation of yourself and you adjusted that and a lot of people don't adjust.
You're right. And, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that there's so many times that I was that person too, right? Where I
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
oh, well, it's just supposed to be done this way. So this is just what I'll do. And it does feel like quicksand when you're in that and you're doing something that just feels completely, like totally misaligned, completely against the grain of how you feel you would like to do it. Not just how you
Hmm.
think, right? Because like logic can get you there. You can power through anything and you can make something happen.
Yep.
But the process is going to be really strenuous and really taxing. And what I realized is that when it came to the publisher saying, yeah, like just, create the outline, and then using that outline, you then write the content. And I'm like, but
Mm.
that just doesn't feel like how I'm supposed to do this. Like, I believe that I'm supposed to just stream of consciousness write and then fit that into a outline that I create later.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's what I did. I just went with it because I
Oh,
thought
really? You just kind of just started writing your book
I did. I
and
wrote
then back
50,000 words in one
how
week.
many?
50,000 words in one week.
I can't do that. That's
No,
insane.
it was insane.
But
But,
that's you.
and you know what? And it's also sort of the way that I had to go about it because I'm not the type of person who can spend an hour a day writing and then
Mhm.
go back into the work that I do. It's just not, that doesn't work for me.
Gotcha.
So I had to literally go away from my family, from my business, from any distraction, and just be in nature and do the thing.
Yeah. Well, I picked that up. I'm so happy to hear that your book is coming out. I'm waiting for it.
Thank you.
And it's an amazing thing. I want to read something to you and I want to see how it resonates with you. And then I'd like you to talk a little bit about your story because so many people need more voices like mine, like yours. There's a lot of us out there who are vocal, just people have to find them. But let me read something to you. For too long, for too long, success has been measured by how much you can squeeze into a day. But what if the goal isn't to do more? It's to do better? I know that you've been helping people move from survival mode and autopilot living to redefining productivity as a tool for fulfillment rather than exhaustion. But I want to know where that came from because you had a very interesting journey in the corporate space, and I would love people to hear about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, thanks for bringing that up. And it's one of those things where I've not always been this person. I wasn't always the
Yeah.
person that lived this way, right? So
Yeah.
I was the person who burned out several times and ran myself to the ground at the expense of everything that I felt I wanted to fit into my life because it mattered to me or it fueled me. I was the
Yeah.
person who would, resent going to the gym because I thought I just have too much work to do. And so therefore, why exercise when I need to be giving my time and attention to my work? And at the same time, I would also resent, my husband, even before he was
Mm.
my husband, God bless him, right? But
Right.
I would even resent him for wanting me to take time out of my day to, focus on something else because I just was so wound, so tight. I was so rigid. I was so in this mindset of I have to do everything for everyone at the expense of myself. And if I don't do it all and do it all perfectly, the shoe's going to drop and
Mm,
I'm going to have nothing left. And
hmm.
so a lot of that stemmed for me from scarcity mindset,
Okay.
having a scarcity mindset, a fear of lack, a fear of not having things, not being recognized for things. Like that fear drove a lot of my hyper productivity and overcommitment for years. But
Mm.
it did not equal fulfillment. In fact, it was quite opposite. And so
Yeah.
that's where the burnout set in.
But people don't, why is it that people don't realize that? I mean, people just go this full steam ahead. I'm going to grind, grind, grind forever. Even if they sense that it's doing something to their mental health, to their physical health, but they'll keep going with it.
Yeah. I think people do it. Well, I know they do it. They do it because they bought into what we've been sold.
Yeah,
The bill of goods, which you know all too
I
well.
do. So what is that to you? What have we been sold?
We've been sold this story
Yeah.
that a successful life means grind it out, chase more, get more. And eventually, when you have enough, when you get to that enoughness,
Hmm.
you will then be able to fully live your life.
Yeah.
And I call bullshit on that one.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I started calling BS on myself for believing it, first of all.
Hmm.
But secondly, then looking at some of the beliefs I have around that and going, well, is this really true for me? And when I realized, no, it's not true for me, I don't have to buy into that. And my own father passed at 58 and was sick, terminally ill, disabled
Wow.
since he was 45. I don't believe that I'm going to get to 65 and go, yeah, life is now good. Now I can find,
Yeah. Yeah.
why not live now?
What people are forgetting is that the way you experience life, let's say in your 30s and 40s, let's say if you go on a trip in your 30s and 40s, if you wait until 60 or 70 to do it, you don't have the energy, you're experiencing it different, you're seeing things from a totally different vantage point. Putting things off forever is probably the worst thing. I call the worst thing we could ever do to ourselves is have regret.
Yes,
We can't get it back.
100%. And what's also coming up for me is
Yeah.
that even beyond the vacations, right? Yeah, take the trip. Just take the trips now, right? Just do it now. I mean, whatever it costs and all the things, like you'll figure that out later. But even just the way you live your daily life,
Yeah.
like what are you putting off to tomorrow and
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
If it's, oh, I'll eat better next week. I'll start spending time in nature in, 2 months. I will be more present with my kids at
Hmm.
some point in the future, as soon as I hit this deadline.
Hmm.
There's always going to be something. And so living, to me, living life is not about how do we get away from work.
Yeah.
It's about how do we integrate our life in a way where we are actually consistently ourselves everywhere that we move through life and we feel good about how we're approaching it.
I fundamentally and totally agree. I have told people, let's say in my coaching, even though it's kind of ramped down now over the years, but I've told people that our fundamental job for ourselves is to feel good every day. It is not to go get the title per se or visit the 100 countries or eat the specific food or be around the specific person unless that is the thing that makes you feel good. Like our only job is to feel good every day because for this journey that we have, and I'm a good example of it, there is no destination. You can have all the money in the world and be miserable. You can have all the titles in the world and be miserable. You have to find the things that are authentically you, which is why I like everything about your platform, and do that because if you are operating from the vantage point of what you truly are, you cannot not be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really love your Goldman story. So you have to you have to tell it because there is a woman or a man who's listening to the podcast right now who's sitting somewhere in corporate or sitting somewhere at a federal government agency or in a nonprofit and they feel something. There's something going on, but they just cannot figure it out. And you figured it out. But can you just talk a little bit about the Goldman story and even the moment that you had when you were on that flight?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, Wall Street, especially in the years I was there, it was very grueling. It's a very high stakes environment, not unlike many other industries. There's a lot of high stakes, high pressure, high stress type of things that go on. Now, I unfortunately reported to some terrible bosses
Mm.
who happened to be female. And I think that was also a sign of the time.
By the way, I was surprised when the entire time I was listening to the story, I was sure the boss was male.
No, no.
Wow.
I know. I'm like, sometimes I wish that would have been the case because it would have just been, such
It
a
would be
different.
easier
Yeah,
to
exactly. It's such a
absorb. Yeah.
different, dynamic.
Yeah.
But those were also the times where women believed that in order for them to get ahead, they had to keep suppressing women beneath them, right? And so it
Mm.
was a lot of just insecurities that I dealt with around me. Meanwhile, I kept feeling like I just have to prove myself. And it ingrained this mindset in me of work harder, just again, be everything for everyone at the expense of me. And eventually I'll get noticed.
Mm.
And I ended up having really, really bad physiological responses to stress and anxiety, which I had developed while I was there. And
Wow.
so, things like unexplainable rashes that had to be treated with steroids because they wouldn't go away, fainting in elevators routinely, appetite issues. I mean, just a lot of things because my body, my nervous system
Mm.
was giving me all of the cues that, hey, time out, like something's not right. Like this is not working for you. And I, of course, in type A fashion, just ignored it
You ignored it.
for a
Yeah.
long time,
Yeah. Yeah.
and just powered
Yeah.
through. And, I resigned from Goldman after about 6.5 years and left the industry, not just the organization. I left the
Mm.
industry, changed my career, but it didn't mean that I left behind those ways of being that I had developed. And so I
Mm.
stayed in corporate and continued doing other roles that did feel a lot more like me, things that I was
Mm.
more interested in. Moved into commercial real estate, which I know you know very well in the
Yep.
real estate
Yep.
world. And it was in about 2017 where I had started to do some of this inner work. I had been meditating for years to help with anxious thoughts and things like that. But I had children at that point, and I thought,
Mm.
geez, if I want to be a better mom and a better partner to my husband, let alone a better leader in my job, I've got some things I need to work on. And
Mm. Mm.
I didn't really feel like this was like therapy level stuff. I had done therapy in my 20s and I wanted real change. I
Yeah.
wanted real growth. I wanted the stuff that's going to actually move the needle.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, after about a year into this stuff, I won a retreat to Bali.
I heard the story. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Amazing. I don't think
yeah,
that was by accident, by the way.
no, not at all. It
Yeah,
was absolutely like, by divine intervention.
for sure.
And I was on the airplane on the way over to this retreat, and I only had about 3 weeks to plan for it. And, I had a spreadsheet for everything. It was, here's what's happening with the kids every day and who's in charge of what. And I had babysitters arranged in the evening so my husband could work late, like all these different things, and every I was dotted, T was crossed. And I'd worn myself to the ground
Yeah.
just to justify the
Yeah.
fact that I could take that time for myself.
Yeah.
And on that plane on the way
It
over,
didn't feel right. You felt like
uh,
you were, I want people to catch that.
yeah,
Like we get so ingrained in, let's say, our corporate stuff that when you're taking a moment for yourself, you actually feel like you're stealing your entity's time or your corporate time.
exactly. That was
It's
exactly it.
crazy how that happens, but it's
Crazy.
normal.
The amount of guilt was like so immense. And then the voice in my head, that inner critic voice, she
Mhm.
was telling me that I was selfish, that I was irresponsible, that, I should not say yes to this. I mean, all these things were happening. And so
Mhm.
sure enough, on the flight on the way over, 3 hours in, I get up to go to the bathroom and I woke up on the bathroom floor.
Wow.
And I come
Yeah.
to get out and then I go back to my seat and I collapsed again. And when I did get back to my seat and I started to, somewhat get my awareness back online, I heard that voice again saying, "You see, I told you you weren't supposed to come on this trip. That something
Yeah.
bad is going to happen to you."
Yeah.
So, and that is how I spoke to myself for a very long time. That is the voice that I listened to. She was in the driver's seat and she made every decision.
Wow. So how do you shift from such a voice? And I want to call that out because we all do have that inner voice. We all do have that talk track that's going in our mind all the time. That's why it's so important. Like you were talking about meditating, and I seem to like my whole podcast platform seems to have gone from the mechanics of life to more understanding of how your subconscious and conscious mental diets play a role, how your mind works, things of that nature. But we do have this inner voice that is constantly going, telling us whatever it is telling us. It's there, whether we are listening to it or not. It's constantly there. But how do you get that voice to shift? How did you do that?
Yeah, I mean, so a couple things. One tool I love teaching people is to name the voice.
The
So
name.
yeah, when you name it, so her name is Erica. What that has allowed me to do over time, and it's a tool I use all the time. She's gotten quieter. That voice never goes away, and that's not the goal. The goal isn't to disown it or to shun that voice. It is a part of us. It's a part of our shadow. It serves a purpose.
Mm,
It keeps us from doing things that are going to really cause harm to us, right? It tells you, hey, it's scary to look over the edge. Maybe don't lean over so far, like things like that.
hmm.
But it also keeps us in a state of fear and self-doubt and self-sabotage because it also creates, false narratives and fears that are not real. Like, oh, don't take that risk because, you don't know what's on the other side of that. Well, if it actually, if you did take the risk, if you did, start the business or, take the class or whatever it is, go on the retreat, you never know what is on the other side. And it may not be scary. It may be growth, but your mind is going to tell you it's scary. So when you create a name for that voice, it allows you to put some distance between the
Oh,
entity that it is and who you truly are. And along with that, in things like meditation or journaling or, just quiet reflection, you can build the relationship with that inner voice that's in your heart, the voice of your spirit, your soul, whatever people like to call that.
yep,
When you can listen to the quieter voice and allow that voice to be the one that directs you a little more often, it,
yep.
it builds a muscle. And you start to go, wow, I'm actually pretty intuitive. I should listen to this more. And when you do listen to it more, you realize how right it is and how much it directs you towards alignment and towards what you're ultimately after, even if your mind doesn't know what you're after.
With the people that you coach and even just people that you've been exposed to, are you finding that social media, traditional media, families, just all this, there's so much information out there now. And we are constantly absorbing it, whether we like it or not, because it's on the wall, it's on your phone, there's a text coming in. But are you finding that people are having a hard time getting to that voice because there is so much noise around us?
I do. And, I like this question for so many reasons.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of excuses over the years. And hey, I've made plenty in my past too, right? So
Yeah.
excuses are usually based on just bad habits people have built.
Yeah.
And their excuses are, when they say something like, I don't have time to put a practice like meditation or a ritual like cooking dinner with my loved ones or whatever it is. If they say they don't have time to give to themselves in a way that's going to help them grow or
Mhm.
be more whole, whatever that is, I'll ask them, let's look at your phone and let's look at how much time you're spending on apps.
Yeah.
And I love doing that because it
Yeah.
really brings to light how much they're distracting themselves from actually living their life, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, yes, there's a lot of information out there, but people have choices and they're making choices that are based on habitual, mindless activity that they think is actually helping them relax, that they think is helping them disengage when they want to.
Hmm.
But really, what it is just mindless distraction that is keeping them from doing the things that they want to do on
And
a deeper level.
it is constant. So I did an experiment on myself.
Hmm.
The experiment was, so I'm a mental dieter anyway.
Yeah.
I made the conscious choice 2 years ago, I think now, to leave social media. I actually left LinkedIn 2 months ago now, even though I was doing really well there. And side note, the reason why I left is because I found myself caring about impressions and likes. And I was like, I'm out. There's some, this is off. It's not working.
Yep.
It's time for me to shift and pivot. So I left social media totally. Then I decided to do something really radical, which was to take email off my phone. I
Mm-hmm.
took email off my phone. I took the internet off my phone. And the only way my phone gets out, and then my phone stays on perpetual do not disturb.
Yeah.
The only way my phone goes out into the ether is when I go into ChatGPT and I ask it a specific question. ChatGPT goes out to get the answer for me rather than me mindlessly scrolling, looking for the answer.
Right.
So the reason I bring that up for people, this is, and it's not easy to do because you feel like you're missing something or you're missing life, or it's been very difficult to get used to the phone not ringing and me feeling like I'm alone or something like that. But
Right.
what has happened since I did all this, probably like 4 to 6 months ago, life has gotten back to where I can see and sense the detail of it. I don't know where my phone is right now. I have no idea because my parents are in Florida. They're not going to call right now. My son is in school. My other one is at work. So I know the main people that I talk to aren't going to be calling, which will ring actually for them. But the rest of it is just it's dead. It's not there. So I get to really focus on like, oh, I'm speaking to Erin today. I want to go do some research on Erin. So I found out all this detail about you, but I wanted to throw that out to people that it is a learned skill. And I run 3 companies. So it's not like I'm shutting everything off from the world. It's that if I want to go, let's say, to Quattro Capital email, I will check it on Thursdays, do what I need to do, and I will be back next Thursday. And then my partners know if they need me to send a voice note, I will check it at night. You can institute these kinds of things to, as you say, design your life and not live by default.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's being intentional right
Yep.
there, right? You have choice and you set the intention around how you're going to engage
Yep.
with your businesses, with your social media, with your friends, all the things you're choosing when you engage and how you engage versus everyone else. It's like, you just grab the phone and it's just, you just do it mindlessly because it sucks you in. It's done exactly what it was designed to do.
Oh, yeah.
Bravo to all those companies. We all know how well they're doing, like they've delivered on exactly what they intended to,
Absolutely.
but we're the product, right? So
What other, so we just talked about kind of a mental diet and being very intentional with choices. What other things of intention have you suggested to people to help them live better, live more authentically, or even start designing their life in a way that they never probably realized that they could, but you certainly can?
yeah, I mean, so this is what I wrote the book about based on,
Okay.
my own lived experience and transformational journey, but also the work I've done with thousands of people. And the meat of the book, part two, which is 4 chapters, is about designing rituals in your life. So
Mhm.
when you think about routines, and I'm not talking about like the routine of like, do you work out at 6 a.m. every day because there's an instructor you love or you have a crew you work out with. Like that to me is just like self-maintenance, right? Like that's
Yeah.
taking care of your body.
Yeah.
But routines, typically something that you think you have to do because you just have to check the box and you just got to get it done, they're not sustainable. Eventually, they become either numb and draining, or they become something that makes you feel like a failure because
Okay.
there's going to be days where you just don't get to it. Right. So then when you feel like a failure because you didn't get to the routine, it's then sending you down this emotional drain. I call it just going down the tubes. You might
Mm.
spiral. And then, of course, now you're having thoughts about yourself that are super negative and, oh, I can never keep up with anything. And why did I not do this? And, it's all of those kinds of things. So then you're completely out of alignment because your thoughts and your emotions are going a totally different direction than where your heart and your spirit might be wanting to go. And that
Mm.
causes this tension or this chaos, this rigidity within you.
Mm.
Rituals, on the other hand, are also a repetitious rhythm. They're also structured, but what they're doing is connecting you with yourself and or with others or with the planet, right? So a ritual can be done in conjunction with a coworker. You might do a Peloton class together at the same time, or you might say, hey, at the beginning of every Friday meeting, we're going to ask each other, if you were a weather pattern, what would it be?
Oh,
So
I
we're
see.
connecting with each other.
Mm.
It might be like game night with your family, or cooking a meal, or having a dance party in your kitchen with your spouse. Like a ritual can be something that you're choosing because it fills you up. It
And
doesn't
that's
have to be a
very different from a
specific.
routine. That,
Very
I see what
different.
you mean. I see what you mean.
And rituals are chosen. They are designed, chosen, and they evolve. They're very flexible. They evolve with you. You don't have to do them at the same time every day. You don't have to do them every day, but you choose them when you choose them because you want to and
Wow.
because you get to.
And that puts
So,
people in ultimate power.
yeah, and they are empowering. Whereas these routines, these habitual routines over time become very disempowering. They
Hmm.
make you feel like a victim or feel resentful that you didn't keep up with something.
Hmm.
A ritual, I mean, even with yourself, something like meditation or journaling or just making your coffee and, setting an intention for your day. They can be so simplistic and yet so rewarding.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is a game changer. That's how you transform your life subtly. Transformations don't come overnight. They just don't, right? Anyone that sells that, it's like it's snake oil, right? Transformations are slow and they're subtle. But then
Take
once you
time.
become a new version of you, you look back and go, gosh, like that version of Erin was so long ago. I barely remember what she was like.
Yeah. Yeah. I spent time, so I have a coach. Well, we're off and on, but we're off right now. But one of the things, so now I'm thinking about what you just said, and I think it's a ritual. So I used to be the 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. gym guy, military police, all that type of stuff. Like it was just part of my nature. And I've shifted to 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. I'm not always up at 3 a.m., but I'm just saying that window of time, if I'm up 3 a.m. to 6 a.m., is my self time. I have a morning packet. It's my perfect day. It's my written self concept of what I see myself in the future, which I'm slowly moving into. It's my journal. It's also I wrote a life operating model. So I have 8 things that I do in life that make me happy. Anything from being a waterman, so that's wake surfing, wakeboarding, to not being a father to my kids. I am a father, but to being a guide for them. So we have to like do stuff with the stocks and how are we going to work on this? Anyways, I have my morning me time that includes meditation sometimes, or will include going through this packet. And when I don't start my day with it, I am completely off.
Yes.
And I think now, see, I'm listening to you as a coach actually, and I think the reason I'm off when it happens, and I've seen it happen to other people as well, is because the first information that's getting into my mind is not my own.
Exactly.
So you get, let's say I don't watch the news, but you get the news, or you get the neighbor yelling, or you get someone who you run into on the street, or your kid is telling you something negative that they're worried about at school. Before you implant the baseline of life is a beautiful thing, and you
Yeah.
just have to create it.
Yeah.
So I think that's what you mean. A little, I guess that is
Absolutely.
routine a little bit, but I don't do it every single day. But I know
No,
when I
but
do it,
that's
I'm
your
better.
ritual. That is something you're choosing because it fills you up. It's not something you're doing because you're like, I have to, and if I don't, I'm a failure.
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah,
Right.
there's the distinction.
That is the distinction. I mean, a routine is just like you just got to check that box. And you're going to
Wow.
make sure that at any point in whatever day you're going to check that box. That is not rewarding, especially over time. It might be for 2 weeks, all these productivity hacks. I mean, talk about social
Oh my
media,
God.
Instagram's
Yeah.
full of them, right?
Yeah.
Do this and this will happen for you. And no one keeps up with that stuff because it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
It's just not. I mean, eventually you're not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Rituals, you don't have to do the same thing. They can evolve whenever you want them to. They're very, very flexible. They are not rigid. This is not about rigidity. In fact, it's about purposely not being rigid and not
Yeah.
being, controlling, but being fluid, right?
Yeah.
And I love your morning ritual. Like that is what you're doing is what I describe as setting an intention for the day. You're setting yourself up for success. And
Yeah.
same for me. When I do that, the mornings that I do that for myself, even if all it is brewing coffee and setting an intention, like today is going to be a great day, something like
Yeah.
that, or today I'm going to feel excited. I can literally almost feel my like synapses in my brain turn from whether it's fog or tiredness or just kind of neutrality to like actual excitement. Like,
Mm.
what am I going to do next in my day? And I'm going to enter that with an excited persona and mentality versus just, flat.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel for people because we are so programmed to just run into the day without thinking twice about setting the intention, as you say. So I just want to pivot something. you went from that corporate life, you had all these thoughts and your inner voice that has shifted over time, and you're now kind of speaking your truth authentically out there, whether it's the book, the podcast platform, etc. It's not an easy thing to do. I wonder just if you could speak on, there are people out there who have a story to tell. There are people who've gone through these types of inner work transformations, or even just any kind of transformation, but they just cannot find their voice. As someone who's doing it extremely well now, maybe just talk a little bit about how that process has been for you, if it's been empowering, scary, and what other people could do to kind of get where you are in that sense.
Yes, it's been all of the above and
Yeah.
at different times and sometimes at the same time, right? The best way that I can say to go about it is just to start. So it's going to be scary for a while when you first start sharing your authentic voice. When
Mm.
you start putting your vulnerable stories out there, when you start talking about the things you're passionate about, and you realize, wait, but I have this job and what I want to talk about it doesn't really have anything to do with that job. Well, it does, because it has everything to do with who you are and how you show up with your
Mm.
coworkers, with your customers, your clients, your, the people you report to, et cetera. So it has everything to do with it. And when you start sharing those stories, whether it's one-to-one with someone in conversation, whether it's a post that you put on something like LinkedIn or Instagram, or maybe you're in a group setting and a team setting and you start to share some of these stories or these passions of yours, your inner work that you've done, your transformations.
Yeah.
When you do, you'll feel scared at first, but then you'll feel so empowered after. And that's how it happened for me. I started to get lit up by every time I would post an article on LinkedIn. Now, this is back when we did articles. It wasn't a feed of
Yeah.
content, but I would write articles about the things that I was experiencing based on some of this work I was doing on myself.
Hmm.
And it led not only to me feeling so empowered when I did it, and it was scary to hit publish. It was really scary. But once I did it, I was like, oh gosh, like what's going to come back? And then I realized, oh, like this is people really like this, but also I was being invited into rooms that I had never been invited into.
There you go.
I was
Yeah.
being asked to come and talk at town hall meetings for clients of mine. I was being asked to run workshops for leaders at organizations that were prospects, not even clients. Like things like that were happening when I was still in my corporate job, where I was like, wait a minute, like I'm onto something here. And by me sharing this stuff, it is actually unlocking something else in people that I didn't even know was possible, let alone did they.
Yeah.
So I say people you get started. You just start sharing.
I think it's important. And because people don't resonate with every voice,
Yes.
so the way I articulate in my story might resonate with inner city kids and people who want to be in the government and law enforcement or something because of my background. Your story is so different and so unique, and we're from two different parts of the world. You're going to resonate with a certain subset of people. And I
Right.
keep encouraging people, like everybody has their overcoming or their transformation or and we are human. Sometimes we do want to feel a bit validated or at least just get our voice out there and to not be so nervous about doing, because if you help one person, the old adage, but if you help one person, you're going to be like, man, I'm really happy that I did that. And I just think it's very difficult for people. And you and I can easily talk to each other on each other's podcasts, and to folks who will listen and watch, it feels authentic and fluid. And man, they really got it squared away. No, it's just you get practiced at it, and then you start to realize it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Nobody, people care, but nobody really cares in a very unique way, in a very symbiotic way. People care, but no one really cares because it's just life. So I really want to encourage people to put their voice out there the way you have.
Thank you. And the way you have.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
try.
Yeah. No, but it is true. We will all resonate with different people. And there's
Yeah,
8 billion people on this planet. And you and I are simpatico in the way that we go about this, but when you do this from a place of service and you're truly serving humanity and believing in the impact that you bring to humanity,
yeah,
it will land where it needs to. It will.
yeah. It absolutely
The
will.
right people will be sent your way. The relationships, the opportunities, they will find you. Doesn't mean you're not going to work really hard, and I always say that, like, especially people who are thinking of maybe leaving corporate to start something. I'm like, running a business is no joke. I mean, there are many, many weeks I work 7 days a week. Now it's not a solid 9 to 5, I own my schedule, but it's a lot of work, it is. But it also doesn't mean that it's not worth it. Anything's going to take work. Any transformation is going to take effort. Any, choosing to put your voice out there, anything that you're trying to do that is going to further empower you and help you grow in your life to whatever next level, you can get to, it's going to take effort. It's going to take action, but you got to believe in yourself and just get started.
Yeah, absolutely. And the right people will find you. And speaking of finding you, so how do people find you? And also let us know where the book is going to be.
Sure. So my website is the best place to find me, erincoupe.com. So it's ERINCOUPE.com. So the book, as of November 5th, will be sold everywhere that books are sold, all the retail sites, Amazon, Target, Barnes & Noble, you name it. And right now it is pre-order up through November 5th on my website, and it comes signed and with a really snazzy bookmark. So you can get it there too.
I look forward to it. I'm definitely going to read it. And I have sent a lot of people to your website. Just want you to know.
Thank you so much.
Because I think this, you and I we are simpatico, and we fell kind of ass backwards into, you know what? I'm just going to do life the way that my own mindset and my own voice is telling me to do it. It's important to get that stuff out there, but I wanted you to come on because it's so, I love your story. And we just need more of them out there. So however I can be supportive, I will. And I've told people to go to your website so many times, and I just finally wanted to get you on the podcast. Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. And thanks for having me, Mo. It was really great.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. Hey guys, this is Maurice, host of the Try Life On podcast. And thank you for listening to another episode. I hope you are finding it useful and helping you design your own lifestyle that you don't need a vacation from. If that's the case, please consider dropping a review for me, whether in Apple, iTunes, or in Spotify. Drop a review, put some stars on it. Give me some feedback on how I can make the podcast better, what information you are looking for. I am doing my best to get information to you on the Try Life On principles, the 5 freedoms, how to build lifestyle, travel hacking, all of it. And I want to do it for you. So please do a review for me. Until next time, my name is Maurice Philogene, and this is the Try Life On podcast. Peace.